Most rescue dogs are returned within the first weeks. Not because they are aggressive, not because they are broken, but because we misunderstand what fear looks like. This is not a story about saving a dog. It's about what happens when survival meets expectation. What happens in those first hours, days, weeks. It's not always what you expect. But if you're willing to listen to your dog and to this story, you might find something far more powerful than obedience or progress. You might discover what trust really looks like when it has to be earned from scratch. Keep listening. What comes next might change the way you see rescue dogs and yourself.
Soul of a Dog, Mirror of a Man.
A podcast inspired by the book with the same name. Written by Andreas Wojtaszek.
I don't know where I'm going. I don't know who these people are. The air smells like fabric and leather, and a nervous kind of hope. Their voices are soft, but I don't understand the words. I press myself into the corner. Low, small, and silent. My heart is pounding like it wants to leap out of my chest. I don't cry. I don't bark. I wait. That's what I've learned to do. To wait until I know whether the pain is coming. The shelter was cold, loud. It smelled like too many dogs and too little time. But I knew it. I knew the sound of feeding time, the rhythm of footsteps, the comfort of a cage that didn't ask of me. I had carved out a kind of existence there, between metal and concrete. It wasn't a home, but it was something like control. I knew what would happen next. But now, I don't know anything. I don't know where I'm being taken, or why. I don't know those hands on the steering wheel. I don't know what they expect of me. Every mile is a question I can't answer. Every glance in the rearview mirror feels like a threat I can't decode. And then we stop. A house. A doorway. They smile, I freeze. My paws won't move, but they coax me forward. The ground beneath my paws feels wrong, too soft, too quiet. No barking, no clattering bowls, just space. Just them and me. They call it home, but to me, it's a puzzle made of shadows. The walls are too close. The light is too bright. Their kindness feels sharp somehow, like something I once knew but no longer trust. I move as if I might fall through the floor. I flinch before their hands even move. My whole world is shifting under me. Sounds I don't recognize, smells I can't place, faces that want something from me, but I don't know what. The floor doesn't feel like earth or stone. It hums. It moves. It pushes against my paws as if it wants me to disappear. The lights in the big frame flash like angry eyes. Voices bounce off the walls and curl around the corners. And me? I'm just trying to disappear into myself. They've taken me from what I knew. A chain, a cage, a corridor armored with steel bars and familiar fear. That place was hard, but I knew it. And now they call this place my home. But what if every instinct inside me screams, trap? What is love when the only thing I know of touch is the bruises it leaves behind? They expect me to be grateful. I see it in their eyes, in the way they smile, in the way they crouch down, in the way they whisper my name as if it were a gift I should appreciate. But I don't. I don't know these people. I don't know this world, and I don't know how to give them what they want. Because my body remembers. It remembers the slap that followed the friendly word, the leash that choked me, the voice that promised and then punished. So no, I don't run to them. I don't wag my tail. I don't roll over to show my gratitude. I survive. That's what I do. That's what I've always done. And when you have to survive, there is no room for trust. What you've just heard isn't fiction. It is the inner world of a rescue dog, as real and raw as it gets. It's a voice we rarely hear because we so often fail to imagine it. But we must, because understanding begins with seeing. And only when we learn to see the world through their eyes can we truly begin to help them heal. Please think of the most disorienting moment of your life. Maybe it was the first day in a foreign country, or the hollow echo of a hospital room when bad news was delivered. That feeling, the ground shifting beneath you, the world tilting off its axis, is what a rescue dog experiences every single day in those first weeks, sometimes months, in a new home. Their entire reality has been rewritten. In the shelter or the streets, their choices were simple. Find food, find shelter, avoid danger. Now, suddenly, they must navigate invisible boundaries. Don't jump. Don't bark. Don't chew. Don't run. They are expected to understand a language they've never heard, to interpret tones and gestures that mean nothing to them. And all the while, their instincts scream at them to be wary, to be ready to flee or fight. For a dog who has never slept indoors, the sensation of carpet under their paws is strange. The walls feel like they're closing in. The absence of wind, of rain, of the open sky, it's stifling. And then there's the loneliness. A dog who has lived outside has never known true solitude until he's left alone in a quiet house. Outside there were always sounds, smells, the presence of other animals. Inside, the silence is deafening. Too often, we forget that dogs are not just instinct-driven creatures. They are capable of complex emotions, memory, and even decision-making. These dogs are not just animals. They are silent souls, feeling, thinking beings with rich emotional lives and deep inner worlds. Rescues carry the weight of survival in their bones. When they enter your human home for the first time, it is not just a change of scenery. It is an earthquake of the senses. The hum of a refrigerator, the flicker of a television screen, the echo of footsteps on hardwood floors, all of it is alien, overwhelming. And then there are us, these towering, loud, unpredictable beings who expect them to understand rules they've never been taught. To a dog who has never known kindness, a raised voice isn't discipline, it's a threat. A sudden movement isn't a gesture, it's a strike waiting to land. There's a fairy tale we love to believe, that a rescue dog, once saved, will gaze up at us with eyes full of gratitude, that he will somehow know we're his savior and fold into our arms with devotion. It's a beautiful image, and it's heartbreakingly untrue. Because gratitude is a human expectation, not a canine instinct. A dog who has lived through abandonment, hunger, fear, or worse does not arrive at your door ready to love. He arrives in survival mode. Not because he is ungrateful, but because he has no frame of reference for safety, let alone affection. In those first hours, in those first days, he is not wondering what he can give back to you. He is trying to understand if you are another threat, if the cage will close again, if the silence means danger, or if it finally means peace. And this is where we must let go of the fairy tale and enter the realm of radical empathy. Not, what do I want from this dog, but rather, what must this feel like for him? What memories is he carrying? What kind of world is he seeing through those wary eyes? Cooperation does not come naturally to them because, in their world, cooperation was never rewarded. Survival was. A dog who has spent years fending for himself does not wake up one day and decide to follow commands. He does not magically understand that this new creature, this human, is now the source of food, safety, and love. To him, love is an abstract concept, as distant as the stars. But here's the miracle. Despite it all, they still try. Or better said, they dare to. They dare to reach across the silence, to step into the unknown, even with hearts that have every reason to retreat. They will try, tentatively, quietly, trembling. And that is nothing short of extraordinary. It is, in every sense, a quiet miracle. So how do we bridge this gap? How do we teach a creature shaped by hardship that we are safe? The answer is not in dominance, not in force, but in patience. The kind of patience that stretches like a long, slow river, winding its way through time. Studies in canine cognition, like those from the Clever Dog Lab in Vienna, show that dogs who have experienced trauma learn best through positive reinforcement, not punishment. A treat, a soft word, a gentle touch, these are the bricks that build trust. According to numerous rescue organizations, including our own experience, a significant number of dogs, sometimes up to 70%, are returned within the first 3 weeks. While hard global data varies, studies confirm that most returns happen in those very early days, when trust is fragile, routines are new, and fear still lives in every corner. Not because the dogs are aggressive, not because they are broken, but because they are misunderstood. We expect them to settle in overnight, to somehow know they are safe. But how could they? They've never been given a reason to believe it. These early days are not a test of obedience, they are a test of empathy. But let's be clear, this test is not for the dog. It is not his job to prove anything. He is not failing when he cowers, when he hides, when he takes time. No, the test is for us, for our patience, our compassion, our ability to love without condition. And if we fail to see the world through their eyes, we risk sending them back before they ever had a chance to show who they truly are. These early days are critical and heartbreaking. The dog has just begun to decompress, while the human has already expected connection. The mismatch in pace can be fatal to the bond that's barely begun to form. These first 3 weeks, when so many dogs are returned, are in fact the most fragile window of all, when the dog is still trying to understand the world he's landed in, and the human is already asking for connection. It's no coincidence that the number 3 keeps appearing. It's as if this rhythm reflects something fundamental in the emotional journey of a rescue dog. There is a guideline known among animal behaviorists as the Rule of Threes. 3 days to decompress, 3 weeks to start showing true personality, 3 months to begin feeling at home, and 3 years, yes, years, before a deep, unshakable bond is fully formed. If you have a rescue dog yourself, or know someone who does, you already know how much time and patience this journey demands. And if you believe this understanding matters, give this video a like so it reaches more people who might otherwise give up too early and helps more rescue dogs find the family they deserve. We humans are often in a rush. We want quick affection, immediate connection, instant results. And when the dog doesn't deliver our fairy tale in the first 72 hours, disappointment creeps in. But the dog is not failing. He is surviving. That's why the most important thing you can offer in those early days isn't a command. It's calm. Not expectation, but empathy. Not training, but trust. I had to learn this the hard way. When we adopted Milla, our rescue dog, when she first crossed the threshold of our home, Milla was less a dog and more a whisper of fear given form, a slender shadow from the streets of Romania. Her body tense as a coiled spring, her eyes wide with the unspoken question, what now? She had known neglect, not kindness, kicks, not caresses. The world had taught her that humans were storms to be weathered, not shelters to lean into. And yet, oh, the miracle of that yet, she stepped inside anyway. Those first days were written in silence. She didn't bark, she barely breathed. She mapped the house like a fugitive, slinking along walls, flinching at the creak of floorboards. I thought I was prepared. I thought I knew dogs. After all, we had Gandhi, our Rottweiler, since he was a puppy. He bonded with us quickly, followed commands, sought affection. I expected the same from Milla. I expected gratitude. I expected her to feel safe because I knew she was safe. And when she didn't, I grew frustrated. In those first 3 weeks, I seriously considered bringing her back. I'm ashamed to admit it now, but it's the truth. I compared her to a dog who had never known fear. I measured her progress by my comfort, not her capacity. And in doing so, I almost failed her completely. But something, maybe her eyes, maybe the way she curled into a corner like she was trying to disappear, made me stop and really see her. Not who I wanted her to be, but who she was. Scared, unsure, and brave beyond belief. And even though every part of her body still trembled with memories of danger, something inside her, a flicker, a whisper, a brave and broken heartbeat, chose to stay, chose to try. That's what fear couldn't silence. The quiet curiosity in her gaze when she thought we weren't looking, the way her nose would twitch at the scent of dinner, though she dared not approach. The infinitesimal lean of her body when I hummed to her, as if her soul recognized the tune before her mind could protest. If I had given up, I never would have known the dog she would become. Today, Milla is my dream dog. Gentle, wise, fiercely loyal. She didn't become that in spite of her past, but through the courage it took to move beyond it. I shudder when I think how close I came to missing all of that. And I share this not with pride, but humility. Because even someone like me, someone who should have known better, needed to learn how to see with her eyes, not mine. But here's the question I had to face. How do you earn the trust of a creature who sees you as the unknown? For me, the turning point came when I stopped asking Milla to meet my expectations and started meeting her where she was. I began sitting on the floor more often. I stopped calling her every 5 minutes, hoping she'd suddenly come running with love in her eyes. Instead, I read books out loud, just to let her hear my voice without pressure. I left space between us, physical and emotional, and waited for her to fill it when she was ready. And slowly, she did. One step at a time, she taught me what presence without pressure truly means. It's about understanding that every flinch, every hesitant step, is a victory. Dr. Patricia McConnell, a renowned animal behaviorist, writes in The Other End of the Leash that trust isn't given, it's earned. In increments, like sunlight slowly warming frozen earth. For a dog who has never known human touch, even the simplest gestures must be relearned. A hand reaching out is not a threat. A voice raised in excitement is not anger. A leash is not a chain. These are monumental shifts in understanding. And now I want to turn this question back to you. How did it feel with your dog in those early days? What were the fears, the fragile places, the moments that taught you patience? If you share your experience in the comments, you may help someone who has just welcomed a wounded soul into their home and is still searching for hope. One of the most effective methods for building trust is the 2-week shutdown, a concept developed by rescue organizations to help traumatized dogs adjust. During this period, the dog is given minimal demands, no forced interactions, no overwhelming stimuli. The home becomes a quiet sanctuary where the dog can observe, sniff, and explore at his own pace. The goal isn't obedience, it's decompression. Research from the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals supports this approach, showing that dogs given time to acclimate before training begins form stronger, more secure bonds with their adopters. Another powerful tool is pattern games, developed by trainer Leslie McDevitt. These games create predictable, rewarding interactions that help anxious dogs feel safe. For example, the 1-2-3 game. The handler counts aloud, and on 3, a treat appears. It's simple, but for a dog who has never known consistency, this repetition is a lifeline. It teaches them that humans can be trusted to follow through, that good things come from cooperation. And then there's the magic of choice. A dog who has spent his life without agency needs to learn that his decisions matter. Offering options. Do you want to go outside? Would you like to sit here or there? Empowers him in a way he's never experienced. Studies from the University of Padua's Canine Cognition Center reveal that dogs with more control over their environment exhibit lower stress levels and faster learning curves. It's not about letting the dog rule the home. It's about showing him that his voice is heard. But perhaps the most profound training approach is the concept of learned helplessness reversal. Many rescue dogs have been conditioned to believe that their actions don't matter, that no matter what they do, pain or neglect will follow. To undo this, we must prove the opposite. Small, achievable tasks, like touching a hand for a treat or stepping onto a mat, reinforce that their behavior can create positive outcomes. This isn't just training, it's healing. We moved at Milla's pace, not ours. The 2-week shutdown stretched into months because trust isn't a race, it's a slow dance, and Milla led. We used every tool that I describe in my book, Soul of a Dog, pattern games that turned predictability into safety. 1-2-3 treat became our anthem. Choice-based training that let her say no so she could learn to say yes. And then, one ordinary Tuesday, the breakthrough. She took a treat from my palm without trembling. Not a small thing, it was Everest scaled, a crack in the armor of her fear. Watch closely. Pay attention to these subtle signs. They might be small, a breath held, a blink slowed, a step taken toward you instead of away, but they matter. Maybe it's the first time your dog leans into your touch, just for a second, before remembering to be afraid. Or maybe it's the first time he wags his tail, not out of fear, but because he saw you, and for the first time in his life, felt something like joy. These moments are fragile, fleeting, but they are everything. Because what we are witnessing is not just training. It is the unraveling of survival instincts, the slow unfurling of a heart that has been clenched tight for too long. It is proof that even the most broken souls can learn to love. But there's something else we must understand. Sometimes, love doesn't mean stepping back. It means gently stepping in. There came a point with Milla when we realized to shelter her from every fear would be to trap her in it forever. So we made a choice, not to coddle, but to carefully challenge. The vacuum cleaner, that roaring beast, didn't disappear. We let it hum in the far corner while she ate chicken, bite by bite, until its growl became background noise. Strangers didn't tiptoe around her. They became treat-dispensing statues, moving only when her tail gave tentative permission. We took her to quiet cafes, where the clatter of cups was softer than her heartbeat, then louder, until one day she sighed and laid down beneath the table. Not frozen, but free. This wasn't force, but it wasn't always choice either. Sometimes, we had to guide Milla into the very things she wanted to avoid. Not to break her spirit, but to help her see that fear didn't have to be the end of the story. She couldn't dismantle the wall alone. She needed someone to hold her leash and whisper, "I've got you. Let's go through it together." It was the art of walking alongside her through fire, showing her she wouldn't burn. Every flinch she overcame, every deep breath she took in the face of the scary thing, rewrote her nervous system. Neuroscience calls it graded exposure. I call it love with teeth, the kind that doesn't look away when growth gets messy. And Milla? She rose to meet every challenge with the quiet bravery of a dog who'd already survived hell. Now, when new fears arise, she looks to me first, not for escape, but for direction. That's the final gift of facing shadows together. The moment your rescue dog becomes your teacher in courage. Be prepared. Be calm and patient. Of course, there will be setbacks, nights when your rescue paces restless and unsure, days when a loud noise sends him bolting under the bed. There will be frustration, ours, not his, because we forget sometimes how much he's already overcome. But if we stay the course, if we meet his fear with patience instead of impatience, his confusion with guidance instead of anger, something extraordinary happens. The dog who once flinched at every movement begins to seek us out. The dog who didn't understand toys starts to play. The dog who knew only survival learns for the first time what it means to be safe. And in that transformation, we are transformed too. Because to earn the trust of a creature who had every reason to distrust the world is to witness the purest form of courage. It is to see a soul step out of the shadows and into the light. And that, more than anything, is worth the wait. And if this kind of understanding, this quiet depth beneath life with dogs, is something you want to keep exploring, then stay with us. There is so much beneath the surface of our lives with dogs. If you want to keep learning and understanding, subscribe to the channel and continue the journey with us. Science and experience both tell us the brain can rewire. Neuroplasticity isn't just a human trait. Dogs, too, can forge new neural pathways, replacing fear with curiosity, suspicion with hope. A study published in Applied Animal Behavior Science tracked rescue dogs over 6 months and found that with consistent positive reinforcement, cortisol levels, the stress hormone, dropped significantly, while oxytocin, the bonding hormone, rose. Love, it seems, is not just an emotion, it's biochemistry. So we keep going. We celebrate the tiny victories, the first time Milla chose to lie down near me, the first time she didn't flinch when I took the leash off the hook. I'm learning her language, the flick of an ear, the tension in her shoulders, and I respond not with disappointment, but with reassurance. I've become, for her, what no one else has ever been: safe. And when Milla presses her forehead to my knee, heavy with trust, I remember, this is the dog the world gave up on. The unadoptable case, the lost cause. How lucky I am that she proved them wrong. And one day, without fanfare, you'll realize this too. The dog who once hid in corners now follows you from room to room. The dog who wouldn't meet your gaze now rests his head on your knee. The dog who didn't know how to be loved now leans into your touch as if he's known it all along. That's the thing about rescue dogs. They don't just learn to trust us. They teach us how to earn it.
Soul of a Dog, Mirror of a Man. A podcast inspired by the book with the same name. You can find the book on Amazon.